The night comes in the Magentano Kingdom Palace. Queen Alisha walks in the hallway alone. Then she felt an eerie feeling looking at one of the palace doors. She slowly pushes the door to open it. There she saw her younger self, and surrounding the young Queen Alisha is 3 young male kids. Looking at it made the queen sad. The blood is still dripping on the sword, with a dead body lying on the ground who is actually his older brother. The young Queen Alisha started speaking with regrets. She said, "I was left with no choice. My brothers, they tried to kill me, and the people who killed mom and dad ended up being with them as well. They were always kind to me, but it was all a lie." The atmosphere changes into something scary as the young Queen Alisha starts glaring at the present Alisha with an eye of anger because of the betrayal. She said, "Don't trust anyone. You must kill them before they kill you." Lloyd Frontera. It is obvious just how big a threat he is. You want to let someone into your heart again? Are you out of your mind? Can't you see that you will be betrayed again? Queen Alisha didn't say anything and listens to what her younger self said. Her younger self shouted, "Just people call you a wise queen. Do you think they respect you? Don't you? Anyone in the world can cut off your head anytime." Her younger self continues speaking hate speeches. She said, "Fight and kill. Take everyone in as prisoners and suppress them. Don't give anyone a chance to oppose us." The present Queen Alisha just stays silent as she walks slowly, going closer to her younger self. Then, instead of giving in to the hate speech and the trials that her younger self had experienced, she didn't mind it, but instead hugged her younger self who had undergone too much pain. In the vast world where only pain and suffering were in there, Queen Alisha told her younger self, "Don't make such an angry face. You are sad and scared, aren't you? It is okay to be weak sometimes." Then Queen Alisha tears start falling down as seen in her reflection. Her younger self, which is full of hatred and guilt for killing her brothers, vanished in the air. Queen Alisha was left crying with a light heart after that. Queen Alisha wakes up from that continuous tragic dream she experienced in the past. She raised her hand and the poison curse that was in her hand vanished. Before Queen Alisha fully overcomes the poison, Lloyd bows down to the queen and tells him about his experience. He said, "I don't know how exactly I overcome that, but it was just a confirmation." Queen Alisha asks, "What do you mean confirmation?" Lloyd replied, "Confirmation that being a human means you can have evil thoughts and that you can be weak sometimes. The second that people try to look away from that, their heart becomes ill." Queen Alisha asks, "An illness of the heart? Are you also an expert in that?" Lloyd humbly replied, "I simply did some research on it because it is an illness that is scary beyond any imagination." Queen Alisha just smiles after hearing that and starts to question her mind about what Lloyd actually said. Now that confirmation of Lloyd was actually true and the queen was already healed from that poison, she could only take a sigh while lying on her bed. She said, "I owe you another debt. I don't know what to do." After that incident, a trial for Lloyd was going to be held in the kingdom. The noble faction headed by Duke Toscano was so happy and hurriedly went to the place where the trial will be held. An announcement said, "The trial of Lloyd Frontera will begin. Everyone in the noble council, please join quickly." In Duke Toscano's mind, even though Worthrod died, he contributed big time. One noble said, "No matter what things are like in Magentano, we should be able to end this guy for good with such a huge incident." Duke Toscano smiled like a demon and replied, "Yeah, we are talking about mishandling the kingdom's sacred artifact and losing it. Even if we are talking about a meritorious subject, his family will lose their title at the very least." I don't know how long will this smile last, knowing that Lloyd is literally a noble slayer. Now Lloyd is at the center of the noble for his trial. The queen said, "Based on the sacred laws of the great Magentano kingdom, we will begin the trial of Lloyd Frontera. This trial is taking place upon the legitimate request of the noble council. Noble councilmen, tell us the crime of this man as the jurors." As these evil nobles are the juror who will give verdict to Lloyd, they were smiling looking at Lloyd. Looking at Lloyd, who is at the center of this nobles who plan to ridicule him, made the queen worried. In Queen Alisha's mind, "I'm sorry, Lloyd Frontera, not even I can ignore the laws as I wish. I will help you at least avoid capital punishment." On the other hand, Miss Siluria was complaining to Javier. She said, "That is crazy. The person who caused the Winter Heart to go berserk was someone else. Sir Lloyd protected the city." Javier replied, But in the first place, Master Lloyd was the reason why the Winter Heart was out, and he is responsible for failing to stop the culprit. Miss Siluria told Javier that it is a ridiculous claim by the nobles. Javier told Siluria that there is no need for her to be worried because Lloyd will be fine. Miss Siluria asks, "The noble hates him. How would that be all right?" Javier replied, "Because he said that he will be all right." Duke Toscano said, "Defendant Lloyd Frontera, hear this. You requested for the kingdom's sacred artifact. We, the noble council, and our queen, granted your request because we had a trust in you." But Lloyd at this time starts picking up something in his pocket. This made Duke Toscano angry. He said, "How dare you fiddle around in the midst of this sacred court?" What Lloyd actually picks up is a vial, and there is still bloodstains on it. Duke Toscano was quite confused about what is that thing. Lloyd raised the vial, and it was actually the vial that Worthrod had given on the Duke. Lloyd's face turns into something uglier, which means right now that is his ace to be in the upper hand of this trial. Realizing what is that vial, Duke Toscano's face turns into something pale and looks like he was about to take a sheet. He remembers the time that he ordered a soldier to spill that vial of blood in front of the room that has a Winter Heart, and he told the guard that he will give him more money than he could earn with his lowly status as a soldier. Lloyd starts spinning the vial in his hand. Now that the Duke is in the palm of Lloyd Frontera, the Duke starts panicking and shaking, with his eyes was moving rapidly. The Duke starts panting heavily. In his mind, how did he get that in all of the chaos? Before the trial, Lloyd actually goes to the area where the incident happened together with Javier. Lloyd said, "The security here was super tight. There is no way that Worthrod guy could have walked in here just like that. He teleported with his own blood, right? That means there is an insider that opened up a path here somewhere for him. If I find that evidence, I can overturn the results of the trial. It is definitely one of the noble councilmen that hates me." So, Lloyd called out his legendary Pokemons, and with their help, they hurriedly scattered to scan the whole area. Now that one major evidence that could turn the court upside down was in the hands of no other than the noble slayer with legendary face, Lloyd Frontera. Duke Toscano was shaking and his voice was trembling. He said this while stuttering, in any case. "Oh, what I was going to say. You betrayed our kindness. You were supposed to manage the artifact. You need to be held responsible." Lloyd was making the Duke a clown by pointing the vial left and right, which the Duke was following, looking at it. Then Lloyd's mouth was pointing at something, a direction on the side. The Duke was confused, what is it, and starts looking in that direction. Looking at the direction, it was actually the soldier who he had ordered to spill the blood of Worthrod. The day before the trial, that soldier confessed everything, saying that he didn't know that it will cause massive incident, and since Lloyd saved his life, he said that he will help him during the trial. Lloyd was smiling at the Duke. He looked like a demon who would devour anything in his way. Two aces were in his hand, the soldier who can become a witness and the vial, which is a piece of evidence. Looking at Lloyd with his evil smile, the Duke was shaking while slowly saying his verdict. The Duke's emotion changed from the opposing team. Now he could become a prophet saying praises for Lloyd. The Duke said, "There were a few wrongdoings that you have committed, but we all know who you are, don't we, Lloyd Frontera? Your live and breathe contributions to this kingdom, our great meritorious subject. Even though you have created a mess, it is nothing compared to how much you have improved the travel road within the city." After hearing that, the noble who knows that they are in the opposing side was confused of this sudden statement. Even the queen, who knows the noble's true motives, was also confused. Lloyd started dancing like he was the leader in the opera of ballerina. Duke Toscano was still saying his praises. He said, "You are also the hero who stopped the assassin who tried to harm Her Highness. You who surprised the entire world by building a beautiful garden. You who protected the kingdom from the Bone Dragon's attack and showed the world that the Bone Dragon is subservient to our kingdom, telling the world that the Magentano kingdom is the strongest." Our legendary MC points at Duke Toscano while glaring at him as a warning. In Lloyd's mind, "I will spare you just this time around. You know what will happen if you even try to get in my way again, right?" Duke Toscano was pushing himself to smile, but was actually crying his hearts out as he raised his final verdict. He said, "Lloyd Frontera should not be the defendant. Instead, he should be proclaimed as a hero among heroes." Moral lesson for this chapter: don't make Lloyd Frontera your enemy, or you will be doomed.